Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review Series. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm here with...
Chris.
And, like a week ago, the plan for this retro was to do NXT Deadline 2022, because NXT is doing Deadline this year, and, we never covered that show last year. It would have been about a year, so we were going to cover it this year. But a lot's changed in the past 2 weeks. CM Punk's back in WWE, and he's going to be making his first appearance on Smackdown for the first time since this show happened, a little less than 10 years ago, which is just insane to think about. And, we're in a Punk kick right now. We're in the mood to cover CM Punk-related shows. Where I decided let's cover the last Smackdown that CM Punk was on, because other than the Rumble, the next Sunday... This is like the last thing really CM Punk does, the last promo he cuts before he leaves, and this is the last time you see him on TV on a major wrestling show, until well, what do you consider major? Like, because it's either Rampage when he shows up or the not Talking Smack. What was the name of it? Backstage where he returns. You could take your pick, I guess.
That was pretty insane, but like him returning. Because that was a surprise. Mm-hmm. What him returning for the first dance in AEW was like more of a known thing.
But yeah, this is the last time you really see Punk, other than the Rumble the next Sunday. And since he was returning on SmackDown, we figured we'd do a SmackDown too. The other option to do was to do a tribute to the Troops retro, and that was going to be my other pitch. But then I found out CM Punk was coming back, so we'll talk about it as we go along. I don't think he's going to do anything significant on this episode of SmackDown he's going to be on. He'll probably just come out and cut a promo again. But it's still cool, that he's back and everything like that. So, I figured it'd be nice to, talk about this SmackDown. And this is going to be the last retro this year, by the way, which is really weird to think about that it's something CM Punk related, because we never... I mean, even though he's been back, I don't know, it's weird. He's been around, like in AEW and everything like that. We did a CM Punk related retro when we did All Out 2021. But I guess it just feels weird that we're doing a CM Punk related retro because of WWE, like not because of anything else. So I guess that's why it feels weird to do this. But this is going to be the last retro just because... it's the holidays. We're busy enough as it is. I mean, this is like what? This is like the first time you've been able to do any type of video on this channel for 2 weeks in a row in a while. That doesn't happen very often. So
yeah.
And the next videos are going to be at WWE Aftershock and AEW Spoke. And then Bazero announced this yesterday. I'm just going to announce it on all the shows we're going to do this week, just so everybody knows. After during the holidays and New Year's Eve and everything like that, this channel is gonna take a 2-week break. Just so that way, it's gonna be crazy anyway to try to do videos. Not much happens really during the Christmas time and holidays thing in wrestling. I know AEW will be doing a pay-per-view, but we can just cover that another time. It's it's fitting we just take a break. Plus, too, we're gonna be busy with Christmas, and I don't want to feel the stress I had to go through during Thanksgiving when I had to scramble to get shows out and everything like that. Yeah, and it's gonna be easier on Zero because he doesn't have to edit the show or anything like that, So, but yeah, we're just gonna start talking about this show. Before we talk about it, let's kind of talk about what the state of wrestling was like around this time.
Weirdly enough, in like 2 days, maybe 3 days because of the war. It's in a worse state, but it's still not in a particularly great state at this time. I wouldn't necessarily say it's bad, but I wouldn't really necessarily say it's good. It's more leaning towards the bad, but it's like stagnant, which is weird because it's like mania time. Obviously everybody was really unhappy with wrestling at this time just because of the deep push of, with WWE, with
So yeah, let's just start talking about this episode of SmackDown. Yeah, kind of weird. This was CM Punk's last televised show because we should just kind of mention what the state of SmackDown was like at this time, just so that way you could kind of know when we kind of cover this show. This is where SmackDown was just really falling. SmackDown pretty much was just Raw recap central. They didn't really have a lot of star power at the time. I think SmackDown, no, this is where SmackDown just became a really lesser show. All the big things happened on Raw. You could pretty much skip SmackDown and not miss a thing. A lot of people, I think, want the brand split to go away sometimes, but if you ever watch the brand split, SmackDown really suffers when there's no brand split because, not much importance happens. And it was also taped at this time. I think it was taped Tuesday, and it would air. I think by this point it's still aired on Fridays. Yeah.
It was taped on Tuesday, aired on Friday.
So yeah, SmackDown was just really suffering at this time. The main thing that I think too, because they merged the championships, it really suffered SmackDown because they didn't have the main title anymore. Pretty much, it was just the one big championship. And you're gonna see too, like a lot of these matches would be matches that would happen on SmackDown, but not a lot of storyline significance. Really, what happened on SmackDown? I mean, you're also watching this at this time. How are you kind of feeling about SmackDown when you were kind of watching it at this time?
It was very hit or miss. It was still better than Raw, but it was hit or miss. Some weeks were really good. Some weeks are good. Some weeks are bad. But overall, I think that this was like our criticism of WWE at the time is they focused a lot on SmackDown. A lot of the good storylines were on SmackDown, and a lot of like the bland storylines were on Raw. And it was that way for a very long time. It didn't really change until maybe post pandemic, and into I should say like the Triple H era when Triple H started to really flex his muscle in the summer of 2022. Summer of 21, I believe. After Vince stepped
No, you had it right. It was 2022.
And Raw's become very good again. And, SmackDown's been very, very good. So, like, both the shows are excellent, and they both, like, none of them are crappy. Like, before it was, like, from 2014 on, it was like SmackDown felt like
it did.
A lot of the more interesting storylines are on SmackDown. Like it's even like in 2016, they SmackDown was a leaps and bounds.
Oh, very much so.
But now,
definitely.
Now it's like, hey, SmackDown might be on the bigger network for right now, but like they're also like Raw's also doing excellent numbers too.
So let's just start talking about SmackDown. The commentary team was this SmackDown took place on January 24th, 2014. This was the go home episode of the Rumble. The commentary team was JBL and Josh Matthews. Josh Matthews was filling in for Michael Cole for reasons we don't know. I don't remember what the reason was. He just wasn't there. So they had Josh Matthews fill in for him. Their commentary style really wasn't all that great. JBL was very much in his heel mode, and this is kind of like when he was very much watered down in this 2014 era, so it wasn't as good. And Josh Matthews and JBL just wasn't really a very good pair up. So, it was 1 week though, so you just have to get used to it. They did a in memory of George Scott. He had passed away on January 20th, 2014 due to lung cancer. He had it for a while, so they did it in memory of him. I've been reading a lot of people talk about how influential he was. He was kind of the first one that innovated the reverse figure 4 leg lock, so that was pretty special. Anything you want to say about George Scott from what anything you know about him or anything like that?
I didn't really know about him all that much, but seems like he is very innovative dude.
The intro was really not good. It was they did like the intro. They had all the big stars there. None of them really show up on the show. Like the first one they show is John Cena. He's nowhere near their SmackDown. They had the crappy theme song. We Were Born to Run, where they would talk about if the sky turns black. This is one of the lyrics in the song. If the sky turns black, it don't matter. We know the sun's gonna come up tomorrow. That's one of the lyrics of the theme song. Like, cool. They have to explain how nature works. Isn't that great? Isn't that awesome? If the sky turns black, it don't matter. We know the sun is coming up tomorrow. Like, imagine the sun does.
Great.
Yeah, but the sun just doesn't come up though. What happens? That puts the whole theme. That moves the whole theme song. Like it just doesn't come.
It does. It's ruined forever.
So there you go. And we'll just mention this now. A lot of what they would use SmackDown for this time was to recap stuff that happened on Raw. You know how I feel about that, Chris. I love me my recaps.
Oh, yeah.
So they recapped Batista's return that had happened on Raw. They recapped the Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt feud, and they recapped the John Cena Randy Orton feud. So like a good half hour of the show was just dedicated to recaps. Isn't that great? That's awesome. That's fantastic. How do you feel about that? Just great, just dedicated show to recaps. It's fantastic.
The best.
Obviously, we're being sarcastic. It's terrible.
They should do more of them.
There you go. We had the first match on the show. It was the Real Americans with Zeb Coulter versus Big Show and Rey Mysterio. The big thing that happened on the SmackDown was nobody really got their full entrance. Someone would have a jobber entrance, and then the other team would get their full entrance. So the other person, which was hilarious. I think the only people that get like their full entrance is the people in the main event. Well, actually, I can't even say the people in the main event because the Usos don't get their full entrance, which is hilarious. The Real Americans are in the ring. The reason this was happening was because Big Show in a match on Raw like a few weeks ago squashed Jack Swagger and he knocked out Zeb Coulter, which put him into a wheelchair. So they had a match here, and I guess Big Show needed a partner, so he had Rey. But if you remember, this was when they really randomly decided to team up Big Show and Rey Mysterio for no reason. It was really weird. And then, the Real Americans cut a promo. Zeb Coulter talks about how much of an awful person the Big Show is for knocking out a defenseless war veteran. He talks about how America needs to see who Big Show and Rey Mysterio are because they're not real Americans and they should rename their tag team. He comes up with all these names. One of them was El Giante and the Beanstalk or something, but it was like Spanish for what Beanstalk would be. And basically its own names. One of them was the Mexican border, because this is when a big thing that Zeb Coulter would say he was sick and tired of people sneaking across their borders and everything like that. He talked about how we're a real team. We have a real name because we're real Americans. Meanwhile, Cesaro would like to speak to you. Zeb Coulter, said that they're going to put their hands over their hearts and say, we the people and everything like that. Before I break down the match, what do you think of this promo right here by Zeb Coulter and the Real Americans?
I have to say one thing. The stable's a crock of shit. Cesaro is not an American. He is
Yes,
Swiss,
he is.
Which always made me laugh hysterically because I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, Cesaro's Swiss. Why is he in the Real Americans? he can't possibly be in it because he's not American or a real American.
Yeah, that was always the one problem with this tag team with Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger. I mean, the team itself ended up being good, just the gimmick was stupid. Zeb's in a wheelchair from being knocked out by the Big Show, so we can't really do much here. And then we had the match. Big Show dominates early. He really takes it to the Real Americans. You could see around this time how it beat up Rey Mysterio was at this time. This is when he was in that state where he couldn't even wrestle without a T-shirt on, really, and everything like that. He was
he looked just beat
he was in
down.
really bad shape. Rey Mysterio does a cool Cena and senton from the apron onto Jack Swagger, and then during the match, the heels get the heat on Rey Mysterio. Cesaro hits the swing on Rey Mysterio. And yeah, the heels get the heat on him. Eventually, Rey's able to turn it around, and he lays him out with a double tiltable DDT. Big Show gets the hot tag. He does a cool thing where he does a double hip toss onto the Real Americans, and then eventually he knocks out Cesaro. He hit, after Rey had hit the 619, and then Rey goes off the top of Big Show's shoulders and hits a splash on Cesaro for the win. And Zeb Colter wasn't happy about this. He was mad. Yeah, the match was good. I give it like 3 stars. Obviously, this wasn't the best utilization of the Real Americans. They shouldn't have had Cesaro take the pin, but, that's just how things happen. But, it ended up being a fairly enjoyable match. So, anything else you want to say about this match?
No, it was fine. It was very fine.
We've done career retrospectives on everybody. The only new thing we could say about Zeb Colter, he's been doing this for a while. He does Sports Key to Wrestling podcast where he reviews Smackdown every week. So that's good, I guess, for him. He has his own podcast now called Ask Dutch Anything. So, you can ask him questions if you want. You don't have to, though. And then afterwards, Paul Heyman comes out because Big Show was feuding with Brock Lesnar at this time. And they had their final segment. And Paul Heyman talks about how the Big Show may have manhandled a former NCAA champion, but pretty much he says that Brock Lesnar is going to use that motivation to destroy the Big Show at the Rumble and conquer him, and then afterwards he's going to conquer the WWE Universe. So I hope you weren't in attendance that night at the Rumble because you would have been conquered by Brock Lesnar. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I might have been conquered.
Good promo by Heyman. He always delivers the promos pretty well. Good final hype to hype up Big Show versus Brock Lesnar. How'd you feel about Heyman's promo right here?
I thought it was good. It was a good promo. Again, just hyping up the match. And the matches itself with, in this hour with, Brock and Big Show were actually, really good.
Then we had the next match. It's Brodus Clay versus The Miz. This is like The Miz in his weird stage where sometimes he'd be a babyface and sometimes he'd be a heel. Here he was a babyface for some reason. And a forced babyface. This is probably the worst era of his babyface run. And yeah, Brodus Clay didn't get an entrance. This is right after he turned heel and decided to go out on his own. And before the match starts, Bad News Barrett rises up on his podium. And, this is when he just started his Bad News gimmick. So, he wasn't wrestling at the time. He came up and he talked about how the WWE Universe tonight is going to be treated to a great 12-man tag team match. But he is afraid he's got some bad news because you guys have to sit through The Miz versus Brodus Clay. And the match starts, and really the whole match is just Bad News Barrett shitting on the whole match. He's just he chants The Miz is boring. Brodus Clay gets in control at one point, and he tells Brodus to entertain us, dance, and Brodus Clay's I don't dance for nobody. And this causes a distraction. The Miz beats him with the DDT. He doesn't even beat him with the Squash Carson finale. He beats him with his DDT. And the Miz beats Brodus Clay here. Then afterwards, he goes after Bad News Barrett. He tries to tip him off his podium, which like Bailey looked legitimately nervous at, like, because like he's got the Miz trying to tip him off his podium. He's like, I don't think he's like risen way up in the air and everything like that. And then Bad News Barrett tells the Miz, "I'm afraid I got some bad news. I'm up here and you're down there." And I guess the Miz just left. I guess the Miz just left. Like, I don't know why he didn't just wait for Barrett's podium to lower down. Like, he just left. Like, I don't understand that. But this match is a 1-star. I don't understand why they would book this match just to have someone crap on it. Like, it felt like this was a match that just pleased Vince. Like, Vince just wanted to book this match just for laughs. I don't understand this. But, yeah. How did you feel about this excellent 5-star banger right here between The Miz and Brodus Clay?
If you don't think it's a 5-star, 10-star, 55-star match, 100-star match, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, this match is just so great. It's fantastic. No, this match absolutely fucking sucked. Brodus Clay is a waste of fucking space. And still is a waste of fucking space. Yeah, he's just a waste of space.
There you go.
Miz is awesome.
Not here though. Not here.
He even says in his catchphrase.
It's he's a baby face, but the T-shirt he comes out with is haters wanted with the circle and the cancel thing, like, type of thing. So it's like, what a great baby face wearing a haters wanted T-shirt, like
A+ baby.
But yeah. This wasn't good. I gave it 1 star. What would you give this match?
0.
Did you give a star rated to the tag match? Okay.
3.
What were you gonna say before? You were gonna say something?
It's just
Yeah.
crap. The match is just crap. Like, Miz was miscasted as a babyface at this time, and this is after he had turned face and teamed up with Del Rio, right?
Yeah, not long after. No, but
TLC was really
no, you're forgetting.
weird.
This is after, like, do you remember he turned heel on Kofi, but then he would go back. He would go back. He would switch off and on with when he was a face and when he was a heel. Like, that's how bad it was. Like,
that was because that was TLC 2013 was when he turned face. This is just like a really weird time period where they tried to do something different with the Miz and they tried to make him a face, and it didn't work.
We've done career retrospectives on everyone we've seen so far. I don't think we've done one for Brodus Clay. He didn't really last much longer in the company afterwards. He got released shortly afterwards, and then he went to TNA, where he's mainly a bodyguard type role, and then he got released from TNA, I believe, in 2018, 2017-ish, and then he didn't really do much in the business, and then he started his appearance on Fox Sports, I think, or Fox News or whatever. The less said about that, the better.
That would be a big.
And then, he after the pandemic, in the middle of the pandemic, he signed over to the NWA. He won the belt for some weird reason. He was TV champ, and then he won the NWA title. And he held that title up until August of this year. He lost the title. He's retired as a wrestler, but pretty much his title reign is the main reason. Like, NWA was going downhill anyways. His title reign is what really brought down the NWA. So, I was gonna say that, but no, it didn't, because the NWA could have saved itself with the TV deal. But then, then we know what happened there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then let's continue talking about SmackDown. Then it shows a Royal Rumble All About the Numbers video package, where they just kind of run through all the big things that happen in the Royal Rumble. We've talked about it before. I always enjoy this video package.
It's pretty much the same thing that they show every year. just slightly different.
The thing I really want to know about the Rumble is like how many, because they've never known this. Like what's the most full, like the most amount of people that's been in the ring like during a Royal Rumble match. I feel like that's one thing that should be in there, just because I think, you know.
What if every competitor was in it?
Can you imagine that? Like,
the entire field.
Do you think they ever? Do you think they'll ever do that someday? Just have the entire field in it at the same time?
That'd be fucking insane. I feel like the number 30 would have to be a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to find a way to really keep it exciting. So, yeah, it's weird. Then we had AJ Lee with Tamina Snuka versus Cameron with Naomi. AJ Lee, who was the Divas champion, got the jobber entrance, and the Funkin' Actors got their actual entrance. What's going on?
Let's go.
What's going on?
And priorities are straight. The priorities are straight. Let's go. We need to see them shake their ass.
Yeah, AJ Lee had just broken the record of becoming the longest reigning Divas champion. She was at 241 days at this time.
Who fucking cares? Jobber entrance.
Not a good match. It was very quick, mainly because they wanted to keep it short because Cameron wasn't really all that good at this time.
She was never.
Yeah. Eventually, AJ Lee wins with the Shining Wizard, because if you noticed, AJ Lee had done the Black Widow, but I don't think Cameron was going to be able to take the Black Widow. So if it was ever a diva that couldn't wrestle, they would always beat him with the Shining Wizard. Afterwards, Tamina attacks Cameron because she had laid her out with a dropkick earlier. And this gets weird. AJ Lee attacks Naomi, and Naomi fights her off, and Tamina's outside the ring watching this happen. She doesn't step in or anything like that and like help out AJ Lee or anything like that. So yeah, this was like I think I gave it like a star and 3/4 because at least it was short. But this was weird. This wasn't good. This was like that bad. This was for some strange reason they were just jobbing out AJ Lee all the time unless it was a title match, which made her title reign really not as good as you were. I think a lot of people remember her title reign being good, but they don't remember that she never won as champion. She always lost. How'd you feel about this? This was bad.
Awful. A horrible match. That the champion gets the fucking jobber entrance because oh yeah, we gotta get that Funkadactyl's ass shaking entrance instead. Well, they push their asses together and then stand up as they slowly grind against each other's asses. We need that instead. This is just awful. Really bad. I give it maybe a fucking star because at least a match.
There you go.
Like a star, maybe a star. I'll just do a star because this is just fucking awful. This is the worst. AJ Lee's championship run was really good. It was great, but I would say 90% of it was or 80 to 85% of it was just meh. It's like the company stopped fucking caring after a while that she was champion.
Mm-hmm.
The last for months on end, they did not care, and all of a sudden it was Nikki Bella was involved, and it was every other fucking week they were this is how many days she has a champion, this and that. And it's what the fuck?
It's not good. Then the Shield's backstage doing one of the promos where it's like a handheld camera type footage, which was really good. And they talk about how they've been the most dominant faction in WWE. And they mentioned that they're going to dominate the Royal Rumble and said that no one's seen anyone like them in the Rumble. However, this is when they were kind of starting to form a little bit of cracks in the Shield. Roman Reigns mentions that he's going to be the one that wins the Rumble in main event WrestleMania. And you can kind of see Ambrose gives a little weird look to Roman Reigns, basically saying that, if push came to shove, he would basically eliminate them from the Rumble. So, good promo here, this would be one of the last Shield promos where they would do it in this format pretty much, which was awesome. What'd you think of this promo? I like this a lot.
I liked it a lot. This was a really good promo. This was the beginning of the cracks forming inside the Shield before they mended the fences before the ultimate turn of Seth. But yeah, I love this. It was promos good.
Yeah. An underrated one I think will always be Shield Dean Ambrose. I think that was a really good one for him. You know, it might be his best like WWE one, just because like him when he broke out on his own, it was working up until it wasn't, and then, you know, his age.
I felt like him on the Shield, like feuding with Seth was awesome, and then it started to get like, well, not like a little wonky, but like they really didn't have a direction,
which is weird.
Like he was still massive. He was still massively over. But like he just didn't have a direction.
Which is weird because everyone was thinking he was going to be the breakout when the Shield broke up, and it ended up being the opposite. So, you know,
thought he was going to be heel and that being like a really awesome like anti-hero baby.
Yeah. Face. So next, we had Los Matadores with El Torito inside versus Rybaxel. Rybaxel got a jobber entrance. Yeah, not good. The heels dominate. I think it was Fernando for a while, and then eventually Diego gets the hot tag, and he's doing really well, and then eventually Curtis Axel beats him with a roll-up while holding the tights, and afterwards El Torito attacks Curtis Axel, and he hits a dive on Ryback. And yeah, what great baby faces. They lose the match and they still attack the baby. They attack the heels. What great sports they are. This was very bland. I'm giving it like, I don't know. This wasn't good. I'm giving this a star and a half. I didn't care about this at all. Like this was just so random and just didn't need to happen. What did you The commentary for this match, by the way, was just wild. JBL was mentioning he went bull running with, like, Fernando's grandfather or something. It was like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, I don't understand this. One point, Josh Matthews was mentioned. Look at the expression on the face of El Torito. He looks concerned. He's like, it's the same expression. He's wearing a mask. It was just, yeah, this match. Everything about this match that could go wrong went wrong. This was just not good. How'd you feel about this match?
1 star. Awful. Rybaxel was terrible. Los Matadores were terrible. The Mexican Puerto Rican bullfighters, they were awful. I liked them in that time period because I did like I liked them. I will say it was like it was probably one of my like weirdly one of my favorite tag teams in that time period. But it just the match sucked.
Yep.
Horribly bad.
Yeah, just we've done career retrospectives for everybody. The only thing new we can say about Ryback is if he makes a return to the business, it's gonna be more. He's gonna get more views, and he's gonna really turn the business around more than CM Punk ever did. He said that.
He said he's gonna be way more over than CM Punk.
So.
Yeah, dude, you come up to fucking crickets. Not even crickets, because crickets make noise. Silence! Because no one will give a flying fuck. Because you haven't wrestled in 5 fucking years.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't even know the last time he wrestled. It's probably longer than that. I think it was 2018.
Well, it's a long time. So, there was one segment I was going to let you talk about. Maybe I'll talk about the segment itself, but obviously it's the reason we're here. It's CM Punk addressing Kane. You've said, you've been on a CM Punk kick. You've watched this. This was CM Punk's last Smackdown. Yeah. Why don't you? This is CM Punk going to respond to the fact that he was going to be the #1 entrant in the Royal Rumble match because Kane put him there. Why don't you talk about kind of like the vibe and kind of what the segment was like for CM Punk? And everything like that.
All right, so at this point in time, CM Punk was fed up. You could tell it on his face. You could tell it on his body language. You could tell it by the fucking staph infection that was on his side. And had he gone on any longer, he probably would have died. They just kept calling it a fatty deposit. It wasn't a fatty deposit. You could tell he was just so beat up. He was so miserable. He looked strung out. He looked awful. He looked tired. He just looked like the life had been sucked out of him. And you could tell, like on Raw and on SmackDown of that week, there was a promo that Stephanie had cut on him, and he is just like in his own. He's just making fun of Steph as she's talking, and they cut the camera away from him because he kept talking, like just talking shit. Like he gave no fucks anymore, whether the camera's on him or not. He was mentally, he was just checked out, and he looked awful. I can't say it enough. He looked awful, and he had every right to be. I mean, he even said that because I did a little bit of reading up recently, that once he like quit, he went to go, like AJ, like made him go to the doctor and get the thing looked up, like get the staph infection, which they didn't know was staph infection. Looked at, and he said, and when they took it off and they scraped it and everything, he said it was the worst pain he'd ever been in his life. And it just, he became so disenfranchised with wrestling that he actually legitimately retired. I forget what someone had asked him a question, like during an interview that he did like right after he had left WWE in 2014, about his career, and I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Oh, it's at in an interview published in late May, Punk was asked how he felt to be retired at 35, and he replied, "It felt good." So he was so disenfranchised. He was so beat up. He was so worn out that he even said that after his suspension was up, that no one in the company contacted him. And it wasn't until he made contact with WWE about royalties from the WWE network that shit went sideways. It's just like everything with him was just off. In leading up to it, and like it sucked that he left because he was super over, but like he was so directionless. And it's just like looking back on it now, it's like you gotta feel bad for the guy. Like he wasn't sleeping, he wasn't eating. He was just he just didn't look like himself. And he even said that he was sleeping much better, like after the staph infection was like cleared out and everything. But yeah, like, and you can even see like during this promo, he just looked awful. And he looked so unhappy, and he just needed to get away.
Yeah.
But and I mean, the promo itself was okay. I mean, but you could tell there was just no heart in it.
Yeah, he just comes out. He talks about, basically the odds of what it's like for him to win the Royal Rumble. He talks about, how, he's beaten the odds before. And he said that, the one thing he's never done is win the Royal Rumble in main event WrestleMania. And again, we talked about this. This would be like a good promo for probably anybody else, but for CM Punk, this was like a bad promo. Like you could just tell he had no passion when he was cutting this promo, like at all. Yeah, then he gets interrupted by Corporate Kane. And yeah, this is like the worst one I think Kane's ever had in his career. Like he was so bland as the Corporate Kane like gimmick. He comes out and basically says that CM Punk has a 0 point, and he keeps going. He repeated himself, and says he has got like a 0.0, and he goes on forever with the 0 and says 1/86 chance of winning the Royal Rumble. and then he says that being best in the world, I'm sure that you'll have no problem winning the Rumble match. And then CM Punk says that you never show the odds against me, and he says that he can't believe that the Devil's Favorite Demon's become a sellout. And he said that he's gonna win the Royal Rumble match. But yeah, this promo, there was just no heart in this promo for CM Punk, and it was just sad. It's just I think it's even sadder to see how happy he is now being back with WWE. So and this feud wasn't anything because this was obviously just busy work until CM Punk got to Triple H. But they really couldn't do the feud at the moment because they needed a stopgap, and Corporate Kane was the stopgap feud. And it's weird because then they have to completely pivot in a few days. So, anything else you want to say about this promo?
It looks sad, and it does look very sad, but he's happy now. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it took a while, but he's happy now. So.
Because also in that interview he said he would never ever work for WWE or Vince McMahon ever again.
Yeah, so it's
That was 2014. That was fucking 9 years ago. Look where we're at.
It's insane.
Hell, it did freeze over. Which is, by the way, a T-shirt now on WWE Shop.
It's insane to think. We're seeing this show like what's changed in the wrestling business since CM Punk was last there, and it's just insane to see. So. Like the Shield's in full form here, like haven't broken up or anything like that. That's insane.
No, this is still like they're about to turn face at this point. They were still heels. They hadn't, because they were still part of the Authority at this point, which literally, I've said this over and over again, made absolutely fucking zero sense. They're the Hounds of Justice. They're like they fight against corruption and shit, and it's like you fucking teamed up with the most corrupt fucking thing in WWE at that time.
Yeah, it's weird. Then, we've done career retrospectives on both these people. Well, why don't you say a biggest one? We kind of, that's why we're here, but because it's kind of a perspective we haven't talked about it. This segment becomes a waste of time because what happens in a few days?
CM Punk walks out on Monday Night Raw, literally the night after the Royal Rumble. He was gone. He was retired, and the strangest thing happened. Vince McMahon was given zero fucking power. And now that Vince McMahon doesn't have any power, what happens? The strangest thing in wrestling happened. The weirdest thing happened. I literally can't even believe this is real life, that CM Punk is back in the WWE. Just like the weirdest fucking timeline. We talked about it. Like the one we did the retro. Not the retro. We did the rundown. Recently, we talked about it. Aftershock. Whatever. It's all the fucking same thing at this point. We did Aftershock, and it's like, it's the weirdest timeline we're in. It doesn't even feel real to see him as a WWE employee. Insane. And if you go on WWEshop.com, Philip Jack Brooks is front and center on WWE.com, on WWEshop.com. Like, what fucking world do we live in? The dude was just...
We mentioned this too. This dude was at AEW. No, and if you look, you sent us side pictures by side picture. He doesn't even look like the same person in August that he did in November. Like,
insanity. What a weird timeline we're in. Where if you look up CM Punk, it says employed by WWE. What?
What's
like? It's just it's the weirdest fucking thing ever. It doesn't even feel real. it still feels kind of like this fucking fantasy bizarro world where every time like I've watched like the return and I've watched the promo a million times now. Every time I click on it, I expect to be like a fan made video, like or like a video from like 7-8 years ago. Like it just doesn't feel like it's actually like a real thing that happened. Like even talking about it right now, and it's been about
oh my gosh
2 weeks, a week. It's been a week because on Saturday, it was a week from Saturday. Then Monday was a week from Monday. So yeah, it's been like it'll be 2 weeks on Saturday since he came back, and it just doesn't even feel real saying it. Like when I click on that YouTube video of CM Punk is back, like it just feels like it's a fucking fan made video. You know how people used to do that on
I remember
YouTube
that, yeah.
all the time, where they'd be like, oh, "So-and-so returns," and it's like interspliced of like them like from like 10 years ago and them to like in a different company, and it's like, oh my god, like that's what I feel like it's gonna be every time I click on it. And I'm like, no, he literally was on Raw. He was literally at Survivor Series. It actually happened. Like, it just seems like it's still like one of those things where even just talking about it now, doing this retro, and just thinking about it, it doesn't even seem like it was real. Like it's just so much. There's so much fucking buzz right now surrounding him. It's crazy.
Insane. Next we had a tag match. It was the Primetime Players versus Luke Harper and Eric Rowan with Bray Wyatt ringside. Primetime Players didn't get an entrance; they got a jobber entrance.
Yeah, let's go.
And yeah, this is early incarnations of the Wyatt family. This was a squash. Harper and Rowan just destroy Darren Young. Titus O'Neil never gets tagged in, and they beat him with Luke Harper hits the discus clothesline and beats him. This was setting the table, ironically enough, for the breakup. Because if you remember, I don't know if you remember this, next week the Primetime Players break up as a tag team. Literally the next week.
Yep,
which never made sense. So this was kind of setting that up. Afterwards, Bray Wyatt gets in the ring. He lays out Darren Young with the sister Abigail. And this was at the time where Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt were having their feud. They were about to have their match at the Rumble. And Bray Wyatt talks about how he is going to absolutely destroy Daniel Bryan, and there's nothing that no one can do about it. And then later on, he's going to completely change the direction of WWE. I wonder if that was Vince McMahon talking right there, because literally at the Rumble he does change the complete direction of WWE. So it's like, that was Vince.
Vince did change the direction of WWE.
And then Daniel Bryan comes out and basically talks about how they're not going to get sucked into this cult anymore. He cuts this great promo on the Wyatt family, saying that he's going to take them down. And it was really great. It was awesome. He was really over here, too. It wasn't one of those things where they piped in, noise on Smackdown and everything like that. This was genuine, and it was absolutely awesome. Yeah, what'd you think of all this stuff?
The match is, iffy. I guess, it gets over the Wyatt family as a dominant tag team. And yeah, it's just the Daniel Bryan promo was great. The Bray Wyatt promo was really good. Yeah, and the match the match to the Rumble was killing.
I give it 3 stars. Just a good way to get over the Wyatts. What would you give this?
I give it 2 stars. It's a good squash match. Yeah, they got the Wyatts over like crazy.
We've done career retrospective for everybody, so we don't need to do it again. Then they advertised the WrestleMania Read-In Challenge, saying that was going on. Did you ever do the WrestleMania reading challenge?
I don't know how to read.
I guess you never did the WrestleMania reading challenge. So, you know. Well, maybe that doesn't mean you can't do it though. Like you could. Did you ever attempt to do it? Oh, okay.
Can't read.
Then we had Fandango with Summer Rae versus Kofi Kingston. Just a random match. Fandango didn't get a real entrance. He just got a jobber entrance. Kofi Kingston does one of those little video promos talking about how he's done all these great things at the Royal Rumble, and he said that he's going to use that to try to win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania, which didn't happen. Okay, this match was alright, just kind of there. During the match, when Fandango gets the advantage, we see Emma is in the crowd, and this was like her first call up to the main roster, where she was doing the Evolution thing and everything like that. And eventually, Kofi Kingston just hits a Trouble in Paradise out of nowhere and wins, and that was it. I gave the match like 2 stars. It was just there, just filler. What'd you think of this?
I give it 2 stars. Like Kofi won, that's great.
There you go. We've done career retrospectives for both Kofi and Fandango. As for Summer Rae, she would go on to eventually break away into a wrestler herself. It didn't really last very long. Eventually, she got released. When did she get released? 2016?
Yeah.
After like so many failed attempts of being a manager to everybody else, and then now she's just a model pretty much. I think she had like 1 comeback, and she did like a Royal Rumble appearance, and then that was it. So, there you go. Then we had the main event. Not the show. She can stay right here. It was the Shield and the New Age Outlaws versus the Brotherhood, the Usos, and Big E Langston. This is kind of like what the main event of SmackDown would be typically every week. It would be some type of Shield match versus a combination of people, which would be like the best thing on SmackDown every week. I always have been saying you never really realize how big Billy Gunn is, and you really realize it when you watch him here versus how he in AEW, because he looks small compared to everybody in this match, which is just insane. This is probably the worst one of the New Age Outlaws. This is when they're just old and they're wrestling in T-shirts and everything like that. They were bound to become the tag champs soon. Because this is right before they win the tag belts from the Brotherhood at Royal Rumble kickoff.
Literally aired 2 days before.
And the Usos didn't get their entrance, but everybody else did, which is just insane to think about nowadays. This is just weird to see where everybody is in one of those matches, because everyone's evolved as characters, except for maybe Road Dogg. He's the only one that doesn't. He stays the same, but everyone else is just in a different place in their lives now and everything like that. The match starts. This is when Cody and Goldust had their weird mixed theme song, which was just weird. Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns start the match. Jimmy Uso and Dean Ambrose start the match, and the baby faces dominate Dean Ambrose. They prevent him from getting to his corner. Eventually, behind the ref's back, the heels attack Cody. They isolate Cody. They dominate him for a while. Eventually, Cody hits a moonsault onto Roman Reigns, and Goldust gets the hot tag. He starts going off on everybody, and eventually the match breaks down. It spills into chaos, and eventually the ref just throws the match out because he just loses control. And afterwards, everybody gets into a brawl. New people come out, and they do one of those things they have to do every year, where everyone just gets into a brawl because it's the go-home edition of the Rumble. And the biggest thing is that CM Punk came out and joined in. And he runs out, and that's how the show ends. Everyone just brawls. So, I gave the match 3.5 stars. It was really good. I didn't like the fact that there wasn't a finish. The ref just throws the match out for no reason, and the Royal Rumble ball is nice. It's just, it's Vince McMahon booking every year before the Rumble. It's always a go home edition. He always has a big brawl to end the show. So it's kind of like, it's kind of getting old at that point. Yeah, this was kind of the last big thing that happened on the show and everything like that. But yeah, how did you feel about the match and the post brawl and everything like that?
I felt the match could have been better. With all that talent that was there, they could have done it so much better. But yeah, the post brawl was typical WWE around Royal Rumble time, where it's they'll fucking have a pull apart to end the show. Yeah, it's okay.
But would you give the match as a star rating? There you go.
Like 2.
Why 2? Like, what was wrong with it?
I just felt like it could have been a little bit better. It could have been longer.
And yeah, that was SmackDown. This show's a C-. It's very average. You could definitely tell they didn't really put a lot of effort into the SmackDown. They were just gearing up for the Rumble. Really, the best thing on the show is probably the main event and the Big Show match. Everything else in between just fell in time. The CM Punk promo, I guess there's nothing wrong with it, but knowing what you know now type of thing, it doesn't make it any better to watch it. Yeah, just a really bland and average show. And it just pretty much proved that SmackDown was just really not a significant show to watch at this time. But what would you grade SmackDown overall in this retro? I give it a C-.
C-. I'll give it the same thing. I give it a C-. It's really just not a good show, and not really, like, if you think about it too, like the worst way for Punk to go out.
Yeah.
Just a terrible show.
Yeah. So that's pretty much that's pretty much this retro. How do you feel this is the last retro we're doing this year? And it's an underwhelming SmackDown. How do you feel this is the last retro we're going to do this year? Are you satisfied with that?
I'm fucking pumped.
I mean, you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I don't going to do any more retros anymore.
Yeah, let's go.
Until next year,
no
anyways. I bet the second that you get off this call, you're going to be, like, dancing around, like, happy, being like, yeah, no more retros for the rest of the year. Like,
yes.
I bet you're gonna. I bet you're just gonna go celebrate too. You're gonna just be like, watch though too. You're gonna be celebrating. I feel like mid celebration, I'll text you. I decided we're gonna do another retro. You're gonna be like, no, like damn.
No. Be like, fuck you.
You said that was the last one, but you're gonna stick to that.
It'd be a good old big old fuck you.
And anyhow, that's the end of this retro. Do you want to guess how long the video was?
14 and a half seconds long.
Wow, it's a big number. The video right now, this retro only took us an hour to talk about. So,
I like doing shows like this, because if you do like one show, it doesn't take you that long to do.
Yeah, before we end off the video, is there anything you want to plug or promote or just talk about or anything like that?
Anything. I'll promote this. Go on WWEshop.com. Buy up all the Punk merchandise. So they put more of the older stuff on. From before he left. Because if you go on shop, it just says like 2 t-shirts and a couple sweatshirts.
Okay.
Like a poster of him, like from Survivor Series, and a placard with him from sitting on the stage, and a placard that has a piece of memorabilia from the canvas from that night. So buy that shit up so that we can get more merchandise.
There you go. As for my stuff, just check out future content on the channel. I think you're not going to get many more videos, so definitely try to check them out when you can. I think you're just going to get one more spoke, I think, maybe 2, and then I think 2 more, maybe 3 more WWE Aftershocks. So definitely try to, watch all the content you can. Chris and I, are going to talk about what we're going to make for content like next year and everything like that, because we plan on expand and try to make more shows. You'll get the same shows, but we're going to try, but we have some other shows we want to have in mind. Check out the On the Talkinator channel, because, once Chris Dodd's not busy, he'll be making his debut on there. So definitely make sure you check that out. And, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. And since it's being recorded in the past, we will talk to you guys in the future.
That's just a stupid boulder!
It's not just a boulder! It's a rock!